Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our book club. This week we're covering a very spicy story. It's called Faster by Andie J. Christopher. Here she is. And we want to take a moment and thank Andie and her team for sending us copies to read and review for you listeners. Now, this book is definitely a roller coaster for some of us girls, and I want to take a moment now for anyone listening and say this is definitely 21 and over territory story. So keep that in mind if you're going to keep listening moving forward. On the episode, we have Rachel, Melissa, Amy, and myself, Chelsea. And we are actually going to kick this one off with an introduction to all the main characters.
Besties, I fear we need to warn you all to buckle up. This one's honestly like pure chaos in the fast lane for me. We're going to try to keep this as spoiler free as we can, but there's really no good way to truly keep this introduction truly spoiler free. So please keep that in mind. It's just going to give you guys a really good idea of how wild this book is. I am starting with the characters that we understand their situation first, and that is a wild ride. So bear with me while I explain this because it's kind of complicated. We first meet Cece, and she catches her F1 driver, world champ of a husband, Ethan, in the utmost ultimate betrayal. Another woman in her bed,
On her side, my
on
add.
her side
Yeah.
of the bed, which makes it even worse. And she does what any self-respecting wag might do, and she gets even. And honestly, I cannot even blame her. Her choice of revenge is perfection. Ethan's former best friend and current rival teammate, Luca. What starts as payback becomes something dangerously real when Ethan finds out the fallout threatens to blow up more than just a marriage. It might even set the entire F1 paddock on fire. We have a cheating trope. There's enemies to lovers, best friends to lovers, a why choose thruple. Y'all, this pair trio gives you everything that I was so unprepared for.
Truly unprepared for. Now we have to go on to Micaela and Liam. Now, Micaela finds herself as the first female F1 driver in the sport on her ex boyfriend's father's, Liam's team. So, yes, you heard that correct. Her ex boyfriend's father owns the team that she joins because he sees her stats and was like, let me just take him away from the team where Ethan is. And it's just silly season on the back end. And who else is her teammate? As if that wasn't chaotic enough. Her ex, of course, Brent. Now, Liam and Micaela find themselves in a bind where they know they're attracted to one another, but it's, well, unprofessional, unethical, and they have Brent as a common denominator. Michaela's worried that the romance will ruin her barely new F1 career, and Liam doesn't want to hurt his son or her career, Michaela's, as well. A forbidden romance paired with an age gap. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Preach.
They're a lot. Anyways,
They were.
okay, so I'm excited to talk about this couple because they're not really like the main focus, I think, in most of the storyline, but there was some growth. I saw it, at least. We have Brent. This is aka Liam's son, Panther driver, also aka Nepo baby. And he's Michaela's ex, as stated above. But his story I found was more based on like finding himself and racing beyond doing it for his dad and just doing it as like a revenge tactic against Michaela for joining the team. He feels most of the storyline like he's in his dad's shadow, including the Michaela and Liam storyline. But he does grow with Paola's help, and Paola, I would say, is like his partner. She's the team's press officer, and she kind of ends up helping Brent realize that one, he's being petty with what he's doing, and two, he wants to be a better guy. Paola, I would say, ends up being like a balance between a lot of the characters. Liam, Micaela, Brett, and she's a pretty good friend to Micaela. You know, she works her ass off for Liam's company, and obviously she's the connection with Brent. So I think this storyline is where we see like coworkers to friends to romance.
Agreed.
That was kind of a lot. That was a lot. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of stuff going on. How do they interconnect? I don't know about y'all. I am a visual learner, so to make this easier for everybody and for myself mostly, God damn it, apparently. Okay. All right, y'all. That was a lot of information. I don't know about y'all. I'm a visual learner, so to make this easier for everyone, for me, here I have prepared a breakdown PowerPoint presentation of who's related to who, and who's in a relationship with who. Because there's a lot. Bear with me. I don't remember if I took my medication this morning or not, and do not come for my PowerPoint skills. I am not a graphic designer, okay? All right, here we go. The Characters of Faster by Andie J. Christopher, as explained by me, Rachel. Spoiler, this is your spoiler warning. There is no maybe spoilers about this. This is spoilers.
Okay.
Do not pass go. Do not click $200 if you don't want to know anything about this book because you think you're going to read it. Okay, so here are our main characters. First, we have Cecilia, aka Cece Ramos. She's a model / influencer, and she is married to Ethan Harrow. And now, in my mind, I see her as like Camila Mendes, like with her curly hair. So cute. And then we have Luca Benedetto. He drives for Scuderia Lupo. He's former besties with Ethan. Oh, sorry. Wrong photo. Mark Webber. And then we have Ethan Harrow. Also other driver for Scuderia Lupo. He is former besties with Luca, as mentioned, and he is married to Cece. Oh, Jensen Button. And then we have Micaela Cartwright. She drives for Panther Motors. She's the first female F1 driver. She's the daughter of Jack Cartwright, who I'll get to in a minute. She's the ex-girlfriend and current teammate of Brent Sullivan. I see her as like Madeline Klein, just like that surfer girl blondie vibe. And then
I see it.
we have Liam Sullivan, the owner and team principal of Panther Motors, former F1 driver, father of Brent Sullivan. And y'all, this is the most perfect like fan cast I've ever like imagined in my entire life. Patrick Dempsey.
Yes.
Patrick Dempsey.
When
You know
Rachel
what?
and I made that connection, we died.
Yeah, it works.
Wait, there's a
Right?
connection?
He races. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's
it's-
right.
He's
race
raced,
car
yeah.
driver. And
Yeah.
we died that neither of us thought about it for the longest time.
But it's literally the like most perfect fan cast in my mind. Okay. We have Brent Sullivan, the other driver for Panther Motors, and son of Liam Sullivan. Nepo Baby Central, like, come on, guys. Lance Stroll.
The only option.
The only option. Specifically Cowboy Lance. That's the vibe. And then our final main character is Paola Rodriguez. She's the press officer for Panther Motors, and that is Maya Refico. I love her. She's so pretty. Okay, and now we have our side characters. Elizabeth Harrow, she's Ethan's mom. She's some kind of English aristocrat. I don't know what rank. Does not say. She's not that important. Hannah Waddingham. If you see it, Ted
Obsessed.
Lasso, you know.
Love her. Yes.
I literally love her. And then we have Graciela Ramos, who's Cece's mom. Eva Longoria. Duh. I love her. And then we have Jack Cartwright. He's a former driver. He's a 3-time champion for Lupo Racing. He's the father to Micaela Cartwright, and he is a misogynistic dick. And so, of course, my mind went right to Jos Verstappen. I'm sorry for the jump scare. And then our last two side characters. We have Hecka Godwinson. He drives for an unnamed team. He's a 2-time champion, and he is married to Jocelyn. And if you've read the book, you know that this is the best connection anyone can make. It's Kimi Räikkönen. Obviously. Does not care. It's just a hobby for him. And his wife, Jocelyn, she's a model and influencer. She's married to Hecka. Christine Quinn from Selling Sunset. Had to.
This is all a masterpiece.
Thank you very much. We're not even done yet. All right.
There's more.
There's more. So, how are they interconnected? So we have Cece and Ethan, and they are married. Okay? Then we have Cece and Luca, and they are having an affair. And Luca and Ethan are teammates, former besties, and had a situationship at some point. And then together, they are a throuple. Okay?
Yes.
I just love the visual.
Okay.
And then we have Micaela and Brent, their exes, current teammates, Liam, who's Brent's dad, and is Michaela's boss. It's a boss-driver relationship. Then there's tension, and then they're secretly dating, and then they're broken up, and then they get married. And then we have Paola and Brent, who are flirting, then there's like tension, and then they end up dating. That one's the simplest one out of all of these.
Literally.
Yes.
Now, how do they all interconnect, including some of the side characters and the teams? So we have our two teams. We have Scuderia Lupo and we have Panther Motors, right? Our drivers for Scuderia Lupo are Ethan and Luca. Again, current teammates, former besties, previous situationship. Ethan's married to Cece. Cece and Luca are having an affair. They're a throuple.
They are double. Okay.
They're a throuple. Then we have the owner and team principal of Panther Motors, Liam Sullivan. And our drivers for Panther are Brent and Micaela, who are exes, currently teammates. Liam is Brent's father. And again, the whole boss tension, secretly dating, broken up, buried, that whole situation with Micaela and Liam. And then we have Paola, who is the press officer for Panther Motors. She is friends and coworkers with Micaela. And then Hecka is a former driver for Panther. He's married to Jocelyn. Jocelyn and Cece are acquaintances. I would not call them friends at all. I would call them frenemies at best.
Yeah.
And then Cece and Micaela are friends, and Cece and Paola are friends, sort of. And then Brent and Paola have their flirting, their tension, their dating. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. The end.
Amazing work.
It's across the
Thank
board.
you.
I have
Thank
no
you.
notes, my ma'am.
We're doing this in the future again.
Rachel. Oh my god.
We gotta do that again
Girl,
in the future.
you had me close to tears. I'm dying.
That was hilarious.
I think it was the Mark and the Jensen photos that I really like. I was I have to find...
and they're a throuple. That solidified it for me.
Thank you.
Oh, Rachel, it's the way you and I kind of totally cooked with some of these fan casts that we worked on.
That was good. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Amazing work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tense. And they're a throuple.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And they're a throuple.
Now that we know the
Well,
layout.
that presentation and the explanation is chaos itself. We do have to give y'all a vibe check because are we really doing a PGP book club episode if we don't at least give you a rough idea of what the vibe is? Now, honestly, y'all, I feel like you have to like a spice-heavy book if you're gonna pick this up. Like, it's drastically different from anything we've done for book club so far. In terms of, like, if you're looking at a spice to plot, like, percentage, like, ratio-wise, like, it is definitely predominantly more spice than plot, in my opinion, at least. And so you've got to keep that in mind if you're going to consider picking this book up. If you're somebody who doesn't like spice, you're going to probably want to pass on this.
I'm going to have to agree because it was definitely extremely spicy for me. Like, I don't mind spice. I actually do enjoy a good smut book. But this one was just, like, out of my range for me. There was points where I was sending like the girls messages where it's like, I need to go outside and touch grass. And mind you, it's like 10 p.m. at night. So no, I was not about to go out there and touch grass, but I was just like, what am I reading? So definitely proceed with caution if you're going to go read this book. Entertaining, yes, just proceed with caution.
Yeah, it's definitely a very, very spicy book. It's a bit out of my range for like the amount of spicy scenes that we got. But not necessarily like the content of those scenes, in my opinion. It is still a lot of spice, but not like super graphic. And if you like that, then you'll definitely be into this book. But it also, again, is not very plot heavy.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Especially with Rachel saying it's not that graphic. Like, it's content heavy, but it's not like pornographic.
Descriptive.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
descriptive,
not
yeah.
wildly descriptive, but it's still like open door romance
Right.
for sure.
I'd say the spiciness, it's really there, but beyond that, there was a little bit of a storyline, maybe like 20% storyline. And I actually kind of liked it. I thought it was interesting. I did feel a little bit like when Rob saw me reading this, I felt like a mom that was caught with like a spicy, naughty novel, and we're like arguing that there's plot in it. Like, I swear there's plot in it. The romance is there. For a spicy novel, I'm not someone that actually reads that very often, and I have to say, I actually enjoyed the book. Probably because of what Rachel said, though. It wasn't that graphic.
I mean, my better half picked up the book and just opened to a random chapter and started reading. And when I tell y'all, the face said everything
What's the funniest video you've ever sent me?
to the non-existent hairline.
Non-existent.
Oh my god.
Not Brad getting hit
Eyebrows
right now.
were just so raised. Botox. If Botox was a thing in that man's face, it wouldn't have been able to hold those brows. Oh my god. The reaction tells you everything. I can't even lie. We have to, like we started this episode, we have to give you a little bit of a trigger warning, content warning. This book is hands down 21 plus. Consider this your warning that the rest of this podcast is going to probably get a little wild. If you are under the age of 21, I think this book might be a little too much. Potentially, I would not feel comfortable recommending this to somebody who was under the age of 21, if I'm being really honest. That's just me and my personal boundaries, though.
Yeah, I second that. There were a lot of parts that had me going like, hang on, what's happening?
No, literally.
Like there were
chapter
some
one.
things that I saw coming, but the build up to it still had me being like, hold on, I gotta walk away for a minute. Like, similar to Mel, like it was too late for me to go outside and touch grass, which
Yes,
is
Kat.
really just
Literally
astroturf
just-
outside of my apartment. But still, it was a little too late for that, and I just had to get up and walk away. I was like, I gotta take a breath.
Yeah.
What just happened?
I don't get it. I knew that there would be spice, okay? Because everyone warned me. You guys warned us. I knew there was spice, but as someone that never reads it, this book literally hits it 5 pages in.
No, literally.
I think it was less than that, honestly.
It was off chapter 1.
Literally on
It was
chapter
literally
1.
Yeah.
On page 7, we are already vibrating.
The dedication warned us alone.
It did.
The
It
did.
dedication
It did.
alone.
Let's read
Yes,
the dedication.
please.
If you are going to be reading this I guess gives you a heads up. My books are always for the girls, but this one is for the fangirls, especially the DTS fangirls. And F everyone who says that our passion for the sport isn't valid because the drivers are all so hot. They can't help it. It's not like they would drive faster if they were ugly. And that is your dedication from Andie J.
That's the best
Christopher.
book dedication. I
It
love
really
that.
is.
Hands down, the best book dedication.
It really is.
But, like, is there a lie in any of
No.
that?
No.
Nope.
No.
Nope. Yeah. It off chapter 1, I was like, oh my god. I sent Amy like I think like a few like I was like, I'm clutching my like non-existent pearls. Right
Yeah.
now. I was like, oh my god. But I mean, like, of course, like any good romance book, regardless of how spicy it is, we always love a good trope, and this one gave us tropes on tropes on tropes. We had a white shoes, we had to an age gap, and enemies to lovers, best friends to lovers. Like, it was insane. But if I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't really sure reading the whole book what trope Brent and Paola would be. Like, I kind of was just like, what's going on here? It felt like, I don't know, like a forbidden romance, but not really. I was just kind of confused on that part.
I feel like for me, Brent and Paola kind of a little bit gave, like, not necessarily, I don't know if I'd say enemies to lovers, more like frenemies to lovers, because they definitely bickered with each other and butted heads quite a few times. But, like, it's not like they despised each other. Like, it
Mhm.
really just felt like fighting was their flirting
Yeah.
at times. And that's okay. But, like, it was like frenemies to lovers meets like coworkers to lovers trope all in one situation.
Yeah, I agree with that, Amy. I wouldn't say it's like necessarily full on enemies to lovers because they just didn't give that vibe. It was very much she was just like, he's just really annoying and my coworker, and I have to like I would say deal with him, but handle him really.
Literally.
And then like they end up flirting and dating, and like they're like bickering is their flirting, if that makes sense.
Thanks.
We also have a third act breakup, which be prepared for that. If you don't like third act breakup, there is one. I'm not a huge fan of a third act breakup, but and then there's also the cheating trope, which I cannot stand.
I think that was more annoying.
I hate the cheating trope. But yeah.
Personally, I can look past a cheating trope
Me too.
as long as people actually resolve it. But Rachel was on the receiving end of a voice note from me of me just simply complaining about my absolute hatred of the third act breakup. I wish I could remember what the heck I said, but I was so ticked off because it was like so late in the book too, and I loathe a third act breakup. I think it's generally, for the most part, pointless. It doesn't really do much for the plot,
especially
in
this book. Yeah,
I think that was a solid 2.5-minute voice note that you sent me too.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think, like, especially in this book, a third act breakup is like there's already so much going on.
It felt very unnecessary.
Yeah. It was, at least, I don't know. I feel like it was resolved quickly, though.
It was.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that almost makes it worse.
Right, because like, why did you do it?
Because it was like, you didn't need it.
For why?
Like, it was like a third act breakup / third act, like, no contact situation for contact. Like, a little bit. But it was just like, kind of, it was more like almost like a miscommunication trope.
Well, he
chucked in there just for funsies.
I don't want to spoil.
I don't know.
I was gonna say, like,
well, he already spoiled it.
He kind of like expected her to come, though.
Yes.
So I definitely agree. I think it was just miscommunication. I don't even think it was a breakup or like third act.
Yeah, I have thoughts on third act breakups and miscommunication tropes. They
piss me off. I'm just like, talk to each other.
Some people do them right, and like, I don't hate it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it makes me like, I have had a book where I have DNF'd it because you chuck a miscommunication trope that's completely unnecessary into it. Some people love it, some people hate it. I do feel like we have to talk about the things that like confused us when we started the book, or like stood out upon initial reaction. I think for me, the biggest standout thing that I know all three of these amazing ladies heard me complain about is the fact that there were no point of view markers. And I love a point of view marker. Even in a book that's just two people, I still feel like I need it. I feel like it's just super helpful. In a book where I'm following 3 separate relationships and like
multiple POVs,
so many different characters, I needed something. My biggest complaint was there was no POV markers, and for me it was really hard at first to keep everything straight, because you're going to hear us say this phrase probably a million times. I would love somebody to keep a tally. There was so much going on.
Okay, yeah, no, I agree. Like, for me, I'm with Amy. I'm a big like POV like marker person. Like, love it. I'm here for it. It's just easier on my little brain to like comprehend like whose POV I'm reading. If it's a 2 point of view person, not really the biggest deal. But when it's like multiple, like I need the obvious in front of my eyes, because it literally took me like a few sentences into the chapter, or in like those little like new like break off sections in the same chapter where it's just like, say it was like between like Cece and like Luca. It would start with Cece and then goes into like Luca's like point of view. Like at some points, like I was still like mid chapter and I'd be like, wait, whose POV am I reading? Because it still didn't give like a clear indication to me, and it just felt like it was just like multiple. It was like a third person POV, third person first. It was just very confusing for me at some points. That's all.
Yeah, the no POV markers threw me off a lot, especially at the beginning. I was able to get it, but like it was still kind of jarring and it still would take me a couple seconds. And then trying to go back to reference the book for like my notes, for the PowerPoint, for things like that, I was just like, wait, I gotta figure this out. And I would like be flipping through and it would just be more difficult to find what I was looking for.
Yeah, I get what you mean when you say like you can't go reference things quickly because in the last book, for example, like you know exactly whose chapter to go to reference. I will say though, I did not take this book as serious as the last one when it came to like
Tabbing.
Yeah, tabbing. There was too much smut going on. There really didn't need to be tabbing, if I'm being honest.
Straight vibes.
But I will say I didn't really mind the markers this time. I just kept taking the markers. Like every chapter I expected someone else to talk. And then I would use this as the marker. Like I assumed the second I saw that line, I was gonna see a different point of view. Because there was nothing else to go off of at all. But
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
kept me
that's
on
what I
track.
started doing.
Symbol.
That symbol.
I feel like she used that symbol for either point of view changes or time change.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like if she was gonna do like a jump within like a day
Yeah.
of like it was like day to evening or something like that.
Next day.
But that was like the best marker that I could find. That would, because there's nothing
Yeah.
else.
Literally nothing else. Also, I do have to mention the lack of F1 action in this book stood out. It's literally just like F1 is just like sprinkled in. It's just like, here's F1. Okay, bye. Back to like doing the nasty. So
It's, you know what? The nasty was the main focus. Everything
It
else was just
literally
wasting
was.
time.
It was.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely felt like the focus of this book was more on the couples and their relationships and less on the F1. It was
Mhm.
almost like F1 was the setting and the backdrop for the book, but it wasn't like a large like point.
It just
wasn't
existed.
like important. It just was like where you were choosing to set it, which
It
is
was the
fine.
setting, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a romance book with F1 added in, like as the setting, than an F1 book, which I'm not mad about it. I liked it. But if that's not your thing, it's good to be aware it's probably not going to be a good book for you. One thing that confused me was Brent's sister. She was mentioned one time and then never again. And my assumption is that she's like a half sister on like from his mom because his parents aren't together anymore. Like, and like Liam never mentions raising two kids. He always only talks about raising Brent. So I'm assuming she's like a half sister on his mom, like from his mom. But she was mentioned one time and never again. That felt kind of like a little unnecessary, but
Forgot she was even mentioned.
Me too.
That's because she's a footnote in the book.
Literally.
Not important.
yeah.
I do agree with all of you guys. This is definitely just a romance novel with like an F1 setting. That's about it. I did like the F1 she wrote in because it was never like dramatized and it was never
It
like
was like realistic.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was always a clean storyline. And I do like that she marks like every event, every
Yeah.
city,
Mhm.
every event,
Yes.
wherever.
The media day,
Yeah.
all that. Yeah.
I really
That I did
appreciated
find.
that. Was
Yeah.
like the order weird? Yes, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah. No, I did appreciate that. I really like that like single page and it's like Bahrain Media Day and it's like the next chapter is like whoever it is and all that stuff. But we can talk about all about this, but we have to talk about our characters. If you're confused on these characters, reference back to Rachel's wonderful, wonderful PowerPoint. Now, we got to start off with Ethan Haro. I am an Ethan stan and I don't care what anyone says. I will die on that hill. I'm with the girlies. I don't really like a cheating trope, but like you can tell like the man really regretted it and really wants to like work out his relationship, and he also like knew like he wasn't putting his best effort into it, I guess. So like after that, like, yeah, you know what, like realization and everything I do appreciate, but he did want to take care of his lady and take care of her. He did. He definitely made sure. So
Multiple times.
Many times. Many places.
Many times.
hey, listen.
I am not Nathan Stan. I'm not an Ethan stan. I hate the cheating trope. That's the most unrealistic part about this book, is that he regrets it and he tries to make up for it and he like doesn't do it again. That's the most unrealistic part of this
Rachel
book
said
to
there's
me.
no
Meanwhile,
redemption.
I'm like, I love it.
I mean, good for him, but like in my personal experience, which is this has happened to me multiple times, they do not regret it as much as they say they do, and they will do it again.
Exactly.
And so I'm like, I kind of understand Cece staying, but like I'll talk about that later. But yeah, I cannot get past the cheating. My brain can't. I can't do it.
I feel like that's valid. He was also like a little bit of an odd one. A little bit of an odd one. I did like though that when he got the Uno reverse card pulled on him by Cece, he took it like a man. He took it in stride.
Mm-hmm.
I think a dramatic reaction actually would have been pointless for the storyline, so I'm glad that he like was like, okay, we're gonna figure it out. But I don't think his character was the worst. Could have been worse.
Could have definitely been worse.
I have so many thoughts on Ethan, y'all. I think my first issue is the fact that, like, the cheating situation never really gets resolved because, this man cheated because his, like, friends that were, like, his hometown friends came to their house for New Year's and brought substances, shall we say, to keep things clean. And he partook in said substances and then has no recollection of cheating on his wife, which is like for me a gigantic full course red flag. Like, oh my god, no. What? I have so many issues with the fact that like it's never fully like we never see them
Hash
talk
it
it
out.
through. And
Yeah.
I have a lot of issues. I'm like Rachel. I've had partners who've cheated on me before. So I have a lot of issues with the fact that it's never actually like talked about and handled and flushed out. Because how are you going to stay married to somebody who did that and not actually resolve it? Especially because she even said that like he hadn't used anything in a while. So it was really out of character for him to partake. One would hope that maybe in like a perfect reality, he cuts said friends off and there's no more temptations and yada yada yada. But I just like have a lot of issues with the way that trope is handled. I have a love-hate with him because I think the relationship as a whole is cute, but I also have a lot of things that I'm just like, no, there's so many holes here.
I think the funny thing about this book is it is a closed door book, but not to sex. It's a closed door book to like all of the conversations that happen outside.
The little details.
Yeah.
Because you don't see a lot of conversations that are referenced in the book, like them getting back together and Brent getting over jealousy and like things like that. Like those are referenced, but that's not what we see. We see the aftermath where they go into the hotel room and now they're really making up.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have to say, speaking on Ethan, I love the next character we have to talk about, which is Luca. I want to say Benedetto. I could be wrong, but hello. I love that Luca is just like consistently would point out to Ethan like to come back down to earth because his character is a little bit uppity. Because he's grown up wealthy, and you see Ethan's character represent that in like small ways throughout the story. And Luca's character was more of like I want to say
More of a humble beginnings.
Yeah, like he really worked his way up into Formula One. So he was always quick throughout the storyline to kind of back up Cece too and be like remind him and Cece haven't experienced so many things and like the richness that is Formula One.
Yeah.
Until their lives now. So I love that Luca and Ethan actually seem to be a really good balance for one another when we do see things that are outside of the bedroom. Because the relationship's kind of cute, actually, considering they're like best friends from childhood to where they are now.
Yeah, I feel like one thing to point out about Ethan is that Ethan's like posh British boy. So like it that should like Rachel mentioned, his mom is like very uppity, so it does I think explain a lot about who he is as a character. But I'm such a Luca girly. I really liked the way that he was constantly paying attention. Like that man was clocking everything. any, like, just everything. He was always paying attention. He, like, I mean, who doesn't love a, like, very observant partner? He was being super observant while having 2 partners. That's a lot. It's impressive when you think about it.
That is very impressive to like pay attention to 2 people. Um, I loved when he told Ethan about like how his parents love Luca like a son, but are still dicks to him to kind of get Ethan to understand how Cece feels so out of place in that family, which like that makes sense. If you've ever seen Downton Abbey, you kind of get the idea of like the English aristocrat family and the outsiders and all of that. And that's like the vibe that we get from Cece and Ethan. And Luca pointing that out and finally getting Ethan to understand, like, hey, your family isn't nice. And that's
They
putting it
suck.
mildly. I really liked that. I feel like Luca's like a really good, like, well-rounded character. I really liked him.
Okay. Now, of course, we can't talk about Luca and Ethan without mentioning our girl, Cece. And all I have to say is, Cece, I understand your dilemma and why choosing between Luca and Ethan, because same. That is all.
Please.
In this thesis, I will.
Now that I've seen Rachel's slideshow and I have pictures, yes. But I think she was so interesting, to be honest. Like, her background is kind of lightly touched upon here and there. Like, she grew up, little rough days, and like she grew up in, I think, Miami, if I'm not wrong, in Florida.
I think so.
Yeah,
Which-
Miami.
If she grew up where I think she grew up, like trying to describe in the story, a little bit of the down days. So I think it was interesting that like consistently throughout the book, she's kind of like acknowledging that she wishes she never gave Ethan her phone number the night that they met because she knew he would be trouble. But she also like admits this is the lifestyle now that she's accustomed to, and like it's just too good to give it up, which is also I think one of the reasons they just end up getting back together, because like that's the way she's living now. And I feel like that probably happens to so many people now, especially like in the influencer era age that we're in. So many people are just doing things because like it's bringing in the money.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like the poor girl was going through it with the internal battle at times of like, do I stay? Do I go? Like, it was, yeah, that internal battle was rough. I also cannot blame her for not picking between 2 guys, because why would you? Like, I also have read a lot of Why Choose, so like I was so excited when I got it in this book. I just wasn't prepared.
I definitely think that like she had like you said, like a lot of internal battles. Especially because like you never know if your partner is gonna cheat again, and like all that stuff. In real life, usually they do. Usually they do. She was also guilty though, so it's kind of like, does it kind of balance out a little bit? I feel for her. I understand not wanting to give up the lifestyle. I mean, that has to be like a rough transition. And then just, yeah, I mean, if you're looking, like, why choose? Why 2, like, basically world champion drivers? Why, if you don't have to choose, why should you?
I do want to say kudos to Cece being like, I want money out of this divorce if I stay through X amount of time. Because girl, get that bag. We could say.
Iconic behavior.
Truly.
She had to line up her future. So
Exactly.
Good for her, honestly.
But I feel like there's a character we have to talk about next for like our next couple story. And I side-eyed this one like really heavily. Hello, Cat. The age gap that this character has is interesting. I like an age gap sometimes. I do, but I don't like how their age gap started. Okay? Like, I love that he's a devoted dad, assuming. And I love that he's like divorced, so good, no cheating. But I feel like it's weird that he finds himself attracted to his kid's ex-girlfriend because he met her when she was a kid. Because they were around for I think a year before. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just weird. Like, maybe hot, especially now with the actor I have in my mind. Again, thank you, Rachel. But also,
You're very welcome.
maybe not. Maybe not do that. I don't know. But he was an interesting character.
I'm a little different from Chelsea. I love me an age gap. I also think Micaela's like 24. So I don't think she was a literal minor when she met Liam. I don't think. But Liam, I think, is also in his like mid to late 40s,
That's
if
how
I
I
remember
pictured him.
correctly. And so like that is a bit of a wild age gap. I'm still not one who's necessarily gonna like turn my nose up at an age gap in a book. It's always a fun time, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with Chelsea. Whatchamacallit? Okay. No, I'm with Chelsea. Like, an age gap isn't that bad, but if it's with your own son's ex, I am gonna side eye you because it's just like, okay. But also the way the story ended for Liam and Micaela, I literally yeeted my book into oblivion. As soon as I read that last sentence, because I was just like, what? What?
I would have paid to see a reaction to that. I would pay to see that. That sounds hilarious. Because, like, I had the same. I was like, what? Okay. Oh.
Yeah, literally.
It was out of left field. It was so out of left field. And not only did Liam do that on live international television, but also in front of Micaela's dad. Like, grand gestures are great, my guy, but let's take a step back for 2 seconds, please.
And we all know how her dad was too. So like,
no, I know, and we get no resolution about like any of that. I would have loved to know what her dad's reaction would have been.
mm-hmm.
My initial thoughts is he would throw hands. And I sent this thread post to you guys after everybody got to that point. Micaela really said, if he won't, his dad will.
I know. It's just true. It's true.
Seriously, though. I mean,
good for her.
I will say, I do think it's a little weird for the fact that Liam can say he's slept with the same girl as his son. I'm assuming that Micaela and Brent had like a physically intimate relationship. I don't really know if they ever confirmed that they were intimate in their relationship because we just don't really know much about like their past.
Besides that, he cheated on Micaela.
Besides that, like he cheated and like it was caught on like a social account, which is just not a good look, dude. Not a good look. I sent Rachel the most mind-blown voice note when I got the proposal in front of her father. Because what do you mean you did it on live television next to the man that doesn't like you and openly around you talked trash about his own daughter? And you're still gonna... That was just bold. It was just bold, and I was not ready for it.
I loved it. That was the only time. That was the only time I approved of the relationship. I loved it.
Oh my god.
Chelsea was like, well, on second thought.
Because I agree. The dad reminds me of Joss. And if in real life, anyone could tell someone like Joss to go F off, I would love to see it. I would love to witness it.
That's true.
And if you like, literally, this had me cracking up. There was like a part where Liam leaned towards the microphone, happy to point out that Jack was so much shorter than him and with his gesture. Do you know how much I cracked up? They gave a little Napoleon Dynamite, whatever, not Dynamite, little Napoleon, just like upset because there's a tall Liam next to him, and he's just like, what is he gonna do? What is he gonna do? Beat up Liam for proposing to his girl? Liam could probably just throw him. He
just like a little flick.
Oh my god, I'm dying.
I'm not imagining him fat. The thing is, I don't imagine him fat like Joss. I probably should.
Just short.
Yeah, just short.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, I used a younger picture of Joss because.
But I loved him.
Would be.
In this one part, I was like, you know what, Liam? I love that.
You okay?
King. Yeah.
It was iconic. I can't even lie.
Still weird though, but
though, I do feel like we have to talk about Micaela because I have thoughts on her. I loved Micaela because I liked that she was driven with her like wanting to be in F1 and wanting to do well in F1. I wish we had gotten to know more about her and like I wanted more out of her character outside of the fact that she was like, oh my god, Liam is so hot. Which, like, girl, fair. Her reaction to him in a suit was absolutely comedic to me, because she was just, like, drooling. And I'm like, all he's in is a suit. It's not like he's doing anything all that special.
He just looks powerful,
He's just in
Amy.
a tuxedo.
Cleans up nice.
He looks amazing, Amy. God.
I'm like, I get it. I am a sucker for a guy who looks good in a suit or a tux, but, like,
Yeah.
come on,
I agree.
Micaela. I also wished that she would have just told her dad a few times to go kick rocks, because I feel like she needed to get a little bit more of a backbone when it came to her dad, of just either setting up boundaries with him or something, because it just wasn't, like, it wasn't good for her, and she knew it wasn't good for her, but she just didn't really do anything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, having that backbone. But for me, it felt like at some points, like especially when that third act breakup happened, like she was willing to like throw away her own like F1 career that she like worked so hard for a man, A-M-A-N, like, ugh. So I wasn't really too crazy about that, because I really like. Yes, give me the romance, give me the love story between them. But it would have been nice to see her like really like career driven in the sport and all that stuff, and how she was so dedicated and came into it. But again, like I think just having more of that development from her would have been nice to see.
I think this is another case of closed door book,
Yeah.
but not like, because she does mention that like her favorite time when she's going through the whole Liam third act breakup is like working with the engineers, working with the what do they call, the mechanics, and she was like working with her nutritionist and going to the gym. So like she's doing all the stuff, but we're just here like, girl, you're just complaining, because there's no explanation to anything she's actually doing towards her like goal. But the only thing that kind of tripped me up about her was like what Melissa said, like, you worked all this way to get here, and you're gonna let a man, an old man, get in your way.
Get in your head.
I was so happy that there was a moment that she thought about leaving Panther, because I don't know. Also, like, Loki, as much as I do love him proposing on TV, a little manipulative, because he did do that to keep her on the team.
Yeah.
Like, just a smidge, maybe 10% of the reason.
Yeah, I feel like I definitely wish she had talked like back to her dad a little bit more, because like, dude, I mean, we all know how I feel about Jos Verstappen. I think we all know how we all feel about Jos Verstappen. And so just like, I feel like it would have been nice if she was like, you know what, dad, screw you. Like, stop. I'm not, I'm sorry. Literally kind of like, I'm sorry I wasn't born a boy, but that's not really my problem. I feel like I kind of wish that the breakup, if we had to have the third act breakup, was more on her side of like, I can't let this relationship affect my career, so I gotta go. And like kind of giving her that instead of like it being him. It just felt, I don't know. I do also wish he had kind of more career focused, and because like, yeah, you're gonna let a man ruin things. A man?
A stinky man.
Like, even for Patrick Dempsey, I questionable.
I do have one complaint on the third act breakup with Liam and Micaela. It's the fact that Liam was ending things because he was worried about his son. Not because he was worried about, oh, what is this going to do for the team dynamic?
Her reputation.
Or the team PR or anything like that. He was just simply worried that his son was going to throw a temper tantrum.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry. Huh? So annoying for me. I don't know. But we do have to talk about Brent. And I'm sorry, I'm keeping this so friggin' short, y'all. Brent is Lance Stroll. I'm sorry if you didn't make the connection, but the shoe fits. I have, like, there's literally no other option. He is Lance. Lance is him. His character felt flat to me. There was just something about him that I just didn't really...
Yeah, I agree with him being Lance, except that Brent makes points. But y'all know I am the resident Lance Stroll hater on the podcast. So, but yeah, no, I agree. He's another one that I wish we had a lot more character development with in the story. Like he just felt very flat, just kind of like thrown in there just to add an extra POV and extra love story into the book. Yeah.
Yeah, my immediate thought was Lance. I think he was the first connection that I made, like, when I was reading the book of, like, in my brain, like, going through drivers. When Micaela described him, I'm like, oh, so Lance. Like, that was just the vibe I got. I feel like he was more like the baseline of aspects about him, not necessarily the, like, actual personality of the character.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, yeah, like, he gets points and he's, like, on podium. But can't say the
Not
same
much
for
more.
Lance. That's about it.
Lance is just getting shots left and right. I think the only thing that makes sense though is Lance, so I get it. I do wonder now in real life if maybe he has a Paola out there just waiting to get to him. Maybe he needs one. She helped turn Brent around.
I think he may need one.
I think he needs a therapist.
That too.
That too. A lot of drivers on the
Heavy
grid
on-
need a therapist. Hit me
They
up,
all do, yeah, they all
please.
Hit me up.
I can help out with that. Thank you very much.
They do all need therapists.
Now, of course, going from Brent, we gotta go to Paola Rodriguez. Like Amy with Brett, I'm gonna keep this short and simple. She annoyed the hell out of me, and I will explain later.
I wish we had gotten more of her background. I feel like we didn't get a whole lot about her. We got, like, her
Mhm.
job and stuff, but I feel like we didn't really get any kind of, like, motivation from her, like, how she got to that point. I
Yeah.
feel like with women in motorsport, like, it's such a hard industry for us to break into. It's really one of those things where, like, having that motivation and kind of getting it, even in a character, is really important for their backstory and their background, and I feel like we just didn't get that.
I feel like Brent, she also kind of felt flat as a character. Like we never really even understood if she was actually a fan of F1. I
Yeah.
feel like there
She
was
was
just
just
so
there.
many questions I had about her of just kind of like, okay, what's your backstory? Like make it make sense.
Right.
I do feel like we briefly have to talk about Jocelyn and Hecka. Jocelyn and her obsession with the media and influencing, especially the at Wags and Slags account that is mentioned in the book. Yes, that is the account name. Yes, I laughed my butt off. It was just too funny. It felt very on brand for what people assume the Wags of F1.
Yeah. Not too big on Jocelyn. She was just annoying. Not a fan of her at all. And as Rachel mentioned in her lovely PowerPoint, the minute I met Hecka, I was just like, or whatever, Hecka, Kimi Räikkönen. Like that was the vibe, and I was here for it. Poor guy just wanted to retire.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
He wanted to retire, and it was the fact that he was like Finnish and seemed to say like very little. I was like, oh my god, it's Kimmy.
Yeah. Jocelyn annoyed me. She was just too fame hungry, and like I'm not a fan of that. And I feel like she was so manipulative. And I hate people like that. It drove the story really well though. Like she was a great villain. Obviously agreed on Hecka. He was in the presentation. He's Kimi Räikkönen for sure. Man just wanted to retire and spend time with his kids and raise the next generation of F1 drivers
Mini
that are world
Iceman.
champions that don't care about anything.
Yeah.
No comments.
I feel
Yeah.
bad for Hecka not getting that retirement.
There you go.
But I do have so many comments more like on Wags and Slag because Jocelyn's character, I think, actually had a bigger play, and I wish that would have been more detailed. Like, I feel like
Yes.
she had a bigger play in it just because she mentions it so many times throughout the story,
Mm-hmm.
and it just
And no
wasn't
one
hit
like,
on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like alluded to because she was like sending information in, but like again, it's another situation of like it's open door romance, but so much of the other behind the scenes stuff is closed in terms of like somehow like Paola, Cece, and Micaela figure out that Jocelyn's feeding this account information, and it's just like, okay, what the heck? Where did the like subtle Nancy Drew like detectives
It was literally a
vibe
paragraph.
coming out of?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just so out of nowhere, and
Bing,
then
bang, boom.
like it was like poof, it was gone, and like it felt like a fever dream for a second.
Yeah.
Another set of side characters I feel like I have to talk about is Ethan's parents, specifically his mother. I disliked his mom so much, so fast.
I hated his mom. I feel like they also felt out of place in the story. I feel like if we'd gotten more interaction with them, it would have been better and like made more sense, but it was just so short. And like I think it was more to kind of give us background on like Ethan's like childhood and how his family is.
Yeah.
Which is great and I enjoyed that, but it also just felt I was like I feel like you didn't have to bring his parents in to like for us to like understand that.
It could have been explained in a different way.
Yeah.
Like a what's that called? Past scene or something. But
yeah.
I feel like the very cold parents, like Rach said, it does help explain the character behavior because like there's certain points of the storyline where he's very I think like they literally use the term closed off. Like he closes himself off before like opening up again. And you kind of see that, I think, specifically with his mom.
Now, speaking of moms, we have to move on to Cece's mom. She also annoyed the hell out of me. A lot of people annoy me if you guys couldn't tell. But no, it's like, I love everyone. She just seemed interested in living the good life at the cost of Cece. Especially like that part of Miami where like she's just like getting her like, and like Ethan like make sure like they get makeup and stuff because he's probably like, let me make sure my lady looks good and also invite my mother-in-law. But she's just like, yay, woohoo, I get like the perks and all that stuff. Because even Cece mentions like, if Miami wasn't here, like I would never see my mom.
Yeah.
Or if F1 didn't come to Miami, like I would never be visiting her.
Yeah. Her mom, I can't even lie, y'all. I don't think I've ever loathed a side character faster than I have with Cece's mom. The final nail in the coffin for me was like her mom's comment that her mother should have landed a driver like back in like the 80s or something, and like it would have changed their life. And it's just like, okay, so you're really just concerned with the money. And like I get it if you're coming from growing up where you don't have a lot and like that's what you're trying to keep getting up, and like I get it, but she just irked the hell out of me.
She was not a vibe. I wish she was more supportive of Cece. She felt so dismissive. Like she, like you said, like just at Cece's expense, at the expense of Cece's happiness. She just wanted to keep living the lifestyle she was living, and I just, I hate it. I hate it so much.
Fine. Honestly, I didn't know how to feel about her for a bit because like it just seemed like they didn't really have a relationship. The book shows they really have just a weird one because her mom was accepting of the throuple. Okay, very nice. But it seemed like she was doing it more because of the drama and the fame that kind of comes with being a throuple in F1 than I'm so happy for my daughter for being loved. It was more like, yeah, my daughter's going to get way more exposure with this.
And I'm going to get exposure in turn.
That was the vibe it felt like. So, not a fan.
I feel like it wasn't even like I'm gonna get exposure. She's just like, I'm just gonna get more access to things and I'm gonna get more money. Like I'm gonna benefit from this more. Speaking of moms and stepmoms and stuff, this is one of my favorite points in the book, and this is literally such a quick moment. I don't know why, but it sent me so much when Micaela was like talking about her favorite stepmom and her unadvised third facelift. I don't know why that sent me. I laughed so hard at that. I loved it. I don't know why. And also another one of my favorite things was Brent's crash out when he found out about Micaela and his dad. Like, that's valid. I would have crashed out harder, honestly.
Honestly, yeah. Very valid crash out. Now, speaking of Brent, Amy knows about this because I listened back to the voice memo, and I still remember what page. On page 211, for my ladies who have their books in hand. Very top paragraph, I think it might be the first sentence, and I quote, would you prefer if I went spicy? This was when Brent and Paola finally kissed. And I just cringed because if Chris sent this to me and he's probably listening, he's probably gonna say this to me later. I would
Amazing.
cringe at him too. Like please, no, no, thank you. Take that away from me. It was just
This is the
0
secondhand
out of 10.
embarrassment they talk about.
it very
Yes.
much.
Yeah.
I mean, we already did the spoiler. My favorite was the Jumbotron. I imagine it on the broadcast, Jumbotron. Will you marry
Yes.
me?
International television.
That's what I imagined.
Oh
That
my
was my
God.
favorite scene. I don't know why. It's at the end of the book. It's not even that important, but I love a surprise.
It's
I was not expecting
I
that.
can envision watching that back like on F1 TV.
Like
Crofty's
imagine.
little like commentary,
God.
like
I would love it.
David Coulthard.
So that was my favorite.
Love is in the
'cause
air.
I really imagined it.
Ragging.
And this is at Vegas, and I'm sorry, but getting married by Elvis, my dream date. Cute.
Iconic.
cute.
Like
Iconic.
so that was my favorite part of this
But
whole
they
book.
did it in the chapel in the paddock.
I hope so.
Oh, I
So,
forgot there's one
would
like
hope
that
so.
there.
I hope so.
Y'all, dare I go really wild and say my favorite scene might actually be the post third act breakup / no talking for Cece, Luca, Ethan in Singapore with the planned photo shoot, because that scene is wild as all hell. That whole entire chapter is just wild. If you know, you know.
There's a lot going on.
There's so much. There's
so much going on
so
in this
many
book, y'all.
moments
It was too
that
much.
had me going, "Oh my god," or
I need to go
being
touch
ready to
grass.
throw my book across the room. The amount of times, because Rachel and I finished this book before Chelsea and Mel, and there were multiple times where I literally was texting Rachel going, "I think Chelsea's gonna throw her book across the room. I think Mel's gonna throw her book across the room." Because I was doing it on my Kindle, and I was half tempted to chuck my Kindle across the room, because what the hell? We do have to do our hot takes because we have quite a few. And as I already mentioned, I feel like Brent as a character was really half-baked. And my biggest hot take, aside from the fact that there is absolutely no depth to that man, is the fact that him running away to New York City to go pout in his apartment was just like pointless. It did nothing. He just wanted to have a hissy fit and get some attention. And the fact that he also then went radio silent with his own partner and like wasn't picking up her calls, it just had me pissed the hell off. It just was so unnecessary.
Yeah, I wish we had more development from Brent in general throughout the story. Again, it just felt like he was just like an added character. Like there was really no substance to his story with Paola besides the fact that they were like frenemies to lovers and whatever. Um, that's on Brett. Now going on to Paola, because remember, I said she annoyed me. And it might be just a me thing. But I just like wasn't too crazy of how she reacted to Micaela telling her the news about what was going on with her and Liam. Like Micaela was just like fighting a storm with herself and like trying to figure out like she was just for me it just felt like she was trying to find like an outlet of like to talk about like what's going on and like her feelings and everything, and maybe she had hoped that like Paola would have been like that friend to like, you know, not tell her what she wants to hear, but like at the same time like be a listening ear and like give her some useful advice, where it's just like she was just like Paola was just like she like told her off, and I was just like, but you have something going on with Brent and you're being hypocritical. Like I get it, but damn.
I can see that with Paola. That's like very valid. I do also think that like Paola kind of knew, but Micaela was just like that confirmation, and Paola's like, I don't get paid enough to deal with the aftermath of this shit.
Yeah.
Also, like, when you're looking at like Brent and Paola, Brent's not really her boss, whereas like Liam is Micaela's boss and the owner of the team. So that's a bigger conflict of interest, I feel like. I feel like both of them, Brent and Paola, could have used more character development for sure. It all felt kind of rushed at the end. I can kind of understand him going off to New York to like have a break, because I feel like there is so much F1 in Europe, and so you just, if you need to get out of the headspace, you like have to completely, if you know what, if you can go to a foreign country to decompress, by all means, I would do it if I could.
Yeah.
Especially because like he got the news about his dad, and he like learned about his dad and Micaela as his dad is basically telling him that he's giving Micaela his car.
Yeah.
Which like
valid crash out.
True. You remember what happened with Logan? You remember my reaction to that? I was so mad. I was mad for him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I understand needing a break. I feel like, again, like we've been saying, like it's that like the conflict itself and the discussion and the like more backstory of it all is closed door, and we don't get a lot of that. So I feel like having that would have been more beneficial. Also, he's a man, and they don't act rationally.
Facts.
Name one man that's acted rationally.
None.
Come on. Exactly.
I don't know why, but actually, like, for some reason, Brent's character, I don't know why his character and Paola's kept jumping out at me, like, while I was reading the story. Especially because compared to the other storylines, I feel like theirs is the shortest one. But, hot take, as hot as Liam is, that girl could be your daughter. Anyways, to me, though, Brent grew on me a little bit more. Because every chapter, like, yes, besides the sex, his development was kind of showing. Like, he realized his true feelings towards F1. We see him come to terms with his dad and Micaela's thing. He kind of starts relaxing. The reason he goes to New York is because that's the only thing he's ever bought with his own money that had nothing to do with his dad, which I respect. Like,
yeah, it's very valid.
He needed the space that had anything to do with his dad. But I agree. Like, I don't hate that it's backdoor, because I get the point of this book is to be smut. But, like, I do wish we saw the conversation between, like, him and Paola, everyone, because she definitely did not get paid enough for this shit, but she also definitely cared enough to like try and help where she could.
Yeah. I do want to add, now that we're all talking about Brent's character development, I would have, personally for me, I would appreciate more development and growth from all the characters in general. Like for me, it just felt a bit rushed to fit all three storylines into one book. Like if they were just like three separate books that were like an interconnected series, like a good 200 pages. No need to go crazy, but like it would have been nice to see like that character growth and that storyline like kind of go beyond and see more like that closed door action where those talks take into place and things get resolved.
Yeah. You can go, Rich.
I wish it was like three interconnected books. I feel like it would have been a lot better.
Yeah, it would have been cool.
Will say, I wish we had gotten Brent's reaction to like his dad fully proposing to Micaela on international television.
Same.
I would have paid for that. Oh my god, because that would be a crash out. I would crash out.
Brent,
you have that conversation.
Honestly, all of them.
Paola's reaction would have been like, "No, I quit."
Just give me like bonus chapters, Andie.
Yes.
Like Brent and Paola's reactions. That just bonus chapters. We don't need a whole book. Just give us bonus chapters where we know how people react. Really, it's Brent, Paola, and Micaela's dad, because I want to see that man crash out and get put in his place.
Valid. I would like that. I will say the only thing, like hot take, you should probably be warned if you're going to read this. Yes, there's smut. But there's a lot of different types of smut. Don't just expect one kind. We also have a throuple, okay? Expected, but unexpected. More detailed than expected. But the dynamic, slightly cute in a weird way. Don't judge me. The smut was kind of cute between them. Just be forewarned that yes, you will have to get through a sweet little throuple smut between Ethan, Luca, and Cece.
Also, guess I should probably warn some people that there is technically a few moments of smut between Ethan and Luca, just two of them. If that's not something you're cool with, you're probably either gonna not want to read this book, or you're gonna get to that point and you're gonna DNF it.
Or skim it.
Pretty much your options.
Skim it and move on.
Or you're gonna skim it and skip through it. It's really not that detailed. I would say for my hot take on the throuple situation is I saw that shit coming from a mile away.
100%.
Yes.
I was just waiting. I remember like freaking out and sending Rachel a voice note because I was so excited that the husband and the boyfriend were boyfriends.
I love when my boyfriend has a
Because-
boyfriend.
This is my boyfriend's boyfriend.
Like, literally.
This is my husband's boyfriend.
It's the dream.
Yeah.
Like, are
This is my
so
boyfriend's
funny.
wife.
I saw it coming from a mile away. The minute you find out that Ethan and Luca have in the past shared partners, I was like, oh, so they're gonna be a white shoes. Like, of course. Like, you can't set me up with that backstory and then not do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's there. You have one option and one optional. I do feel like we need to talk about if an F1 fan could like this book. Because if I'm honest, if you are an F1 fan who wants an F1 romance with a lot of F1 content, you're not going to like this book. There's like maximum, at best, there's 20% F1 content in this entire book. And that's me being probably very generous, if I'm honest.
Yeah. In my honest opinion, I really don't think this could be an F1 fan's favorite book. A quick fluff read, sure. I know my Tori, who's a big smutty fan. She would love this. She would eat this shit up. But it's like Amy had mentioned, F1 is barely touched upon in the story. I literally said it's like sprinkled in. It's more like a background, like a setting. And I'm gonna be honest again, I forgot what the plot is, and I only finished this book like 2-3 nights ago.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely wish there was more focus on the sport, but it was good, and it was pretty accurate on the aspects of F1 that it did have, which is nice because we have read books in the past where I was like, that's not right.
Yeah.
That doesn't work that way.
Does
it is
overtake some
definitely,
Monaco?
like a quick fluff read, which I don't necessarily mind because I feel like sometimes to get me out of a rut, I just need something that's going to make me go, huh?
Yeah.
And that definitely, I got that from this book, so. Same. I did like when she wrote the racing here and there. Very minimal, but it wasn't detailed enough for anything to be wrong. So I enjoyed it.
That's fair.
Like we already mentioned, I will say I really did like that she included callouts for where things fell during the season. Like, she had a callout for winter break.
Mhm.
There were callouts for whether it was media day versus quali versus
That was
race
a nice
day.
touch.
Like, even when Brent was in New York City, there's a callout that says that you're in a different location. It was just like those moments were very thoughtful in terms of just like how you're laying everything out. I will say I did really appreciate that, and I do think F1 fans would at least appreciate being able to like clearly know
What's going
where
on?
it's falling in an F1 race weekend schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I was really helpful in timeline. I was able to kind of picture the day, what was going on, kind of like, especially if you've like, you know, we've all seen like the different paddocks when we're watching races. So like, it's actually so much easier to visualize like, oh, they're in the media pen. Oh, they're, you know, on the couch doing that media part of the media day. I feel like that was really nice.
I agree. I don't think this would be an F1 fan's favorite book, like per se, but if you're a smut fan and you like, what is that called? Sports romance. Pretty up in the list, I think. Again, I don't like smut, and even this book, I was barely skipping anything because it just wasn't that graphic. So I appreciated that.
I feel like Rachel's PowerPoint is the most fan cast that we can do in terms of like, I can't think of any F1 characters that really fit the story aside from Lance. Like, he's the only current person on the grid that I'm like, oh yeah, no, you fit this one character. Everybody else, I'm like, I don't even want to try.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the pearl clutching for me, but besides Lance, I couldn't connect any of the the current grid and like past grid to this book, and I am perfectly okay with that because I do not want that image in my mind. Thank you.
Yeah, the only ones that I immediately thought of were Lance for Brent and Kimmy for Hecka, and then Yoss for Jack. Those were kind of the only ones, and two of those are side characters that we don't really see that often. And nothing else really popped into my mind. And again, like Mel, I am fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. I will say I made those connections. At least I made the Lance Brent connection before we got to any of the smut. And the ones that I really Mark Webber and Jensen Button that I used in the slideshow were solely off looks. That was it. And I used younger photos of them, obviously.
Yeah, thankfully, even with the comparisons that like Rachel made, I not like affecting the reading. So I like to keep it like that. I don't want to imagine anyone that's actually on the grid because it makes it weird sometimes.
I do feel like I have to talk about some things that like irked me with this book and kind of, or more like I feel like they threw me off with this book, and that was her schedule. Because what do you mean we're starting with a race in Bahrain and then we're going to Australia and then it's Suzuka and Miami? And like, even with Miami, she really only gave us media day and quali in Miami. We never actually got any race day in Miami. It was just very interesting in terms of like a flow and everything like that. It was just a little odd for me.
I think there's a lot of time jumps. Like we've mentioned, like the closed door conversations and stuff happening. It feels like we're jumping from Bahrain to Australia because nothing happened in between. Like not that we as readers needed to really know about. It's like if you've ever watched Downton Abbey, they do that all the time. They skip over months because they aren't necessary, and it flows better within the story because of course the aristocratic London seasons, all of this stuff, like there was nothing that we needed to know, so they're just skipping over points in time. And that's kind of how I read it, but I'm also doing another rewatch of Downton Abbey, so that's already in my brain. Hence all of the Downton Abbey references in this episode.
We do have to wrap up this episode with our overall ratings for the books and our last few final thoughts. I have to start out with if I would actually recommend this book to any of my friends. Honestly, I can't lie. I don't think any of my bookish friends would want to read this. They'd probably all look at me a little sideways if I recommended this to them without giving them any warnings before. It was just such a wild journey. It's so different from anything else that we have read for book club. I almost like have to give it a 4 simply because of how chaotic this book is.
Now, for me, I have like a handful of friends, but again, like Amy, I need to just give them like a little synopsis. They're unhinged like I am. But for me, like while the book was like a fun and a different read, like usually again, most of us like to read like our fantasy books and everything like that. I do again wish there was more plot to the storyline and more character development, but I'm not gonna be an old drum. So for me, it's like a solid 3.5 out of 5 just because I wanted more plot to the spice in this book.
Definitely feel like we could have used 3 interconnected novels. It would have been great and given us more backstory. I also probably wouldn't recommend this to my bookish friends. Granted, I literally have like outside of all of us, like I have like one person that would read F1 romances. And this is, I know for a fact this is not her kind of book because it's my best friend. I've known her for 15 years. I can tell her right away, be like, no, this is not for you. I would say it's like a 4 out of 5 for the chaos. I love chaos. I love the like, hold on, what? Every so often, and like having to like, I gotta step away from this, and like I like books that make me do that because I just keeps you on your toes, you know?
I definitely agree. This one actually gets a 4 from me. Will I pre-warn my friends? Yes. I don't even read smut, so they need to be warned why I'm recommending this. But for some reason, all the storylines kind of hit for me. And it was like, if you've ever seen the movie New Year's Eve, I think it's called, or Valentine's Day, where it's like a bunch of people interconnected and they're meeting up. That's what it felt like. Yes, that's what it felt like reading this book. So I actually did end up really enjoying everything. Still really hot though.
I feel like we have to give like our heat index ratings. Like, how spicy is this book? This is granted just a PSA, y'all. This is on a scale of 10 because I feel like a scale of 5 is not appropriate for this kind of a book. I would have to give it a heat index on this. I'd say it's like a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. It's not wildly graphic, but it's spice heavy compared to like everything else that we've read for book club.
So for me, because again, this is one of the more spicier books I've read. This is a solid like 8 to 9 out of 10 for me.
The 7 or like an 8 out of 10, because like Amy said, the scene, like, it's not super descriptive, but there's a lot. The scenes themselves, I would say, are like maybe a 6 out of 10, but the amount of content gives it like a 9 out of 10. So I kind of like roughly in the middle, like a 7 or an 8 for me.
I agree. For me, it was a 7. I feel like AO3 has given me some dirtier things by accident. So just keep that in mind. You never know what you're reading on AO3, if we're being honest. But,
honestly, valid. Yeah.
Yeah. But this book, again, content-wise, it is covered in smut from like chapter 1 to the last one. So it's a very hot heat index in content. Okay. We're all laughing. This was a funny book. This was a great book. This was a smutty book. And I have to thank Andie for, moment of the week. Thank you for letting us read this book. It was fun, even if it was smutty and it was different. I appreciate getting out of my boundaries and reading new things out there. So it was really cool.
Well, besties, that's a wrap on our Faster by Andie J. Christopher book club episode. We warned you this one was going to be a high octane book, and boy did it deliver. Between the cheating scandal, forbidden romance hookups, the ex-dad situation, you know the one. We were living for every chaotic champagne-soaked page of this book. As always, we want to know your thoughts. Are you team age gap? Are you team throuple? Maybe team coworkers to lovers? Or were you just there for all of the drama? Slide into our DMs or drop your hot takes in the comments. Everywhere we are Paddock Girls Podcast. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and YouTube. This is my reminder that if you want to see and listen to our podcast where you can get the video footage, please check us out on YouTube, where you can see all of our beautiful faces while we're laughing our butts off and doing the podcast, because the giggle fits are inevitable with us. Thank you so much for hanging out with us in the paddock. Until next time, we'll see you. Wow. Bye.
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 Was champagne soaked a euphemism?
No.
Should have been.
I thought about it like that.
Should have been.